Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
They got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican police service.
It's literally not true.
I didn't ask you to interrupt.
Is that correct?
Oh, from safe.
Just about grabbed the camera there instead of the microphone. Welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Good to have you all here. Hello, welcome. Sorry I'm a little bit late, but I'm trying to fix the issues we've been having. I fixed some of them, caused more of them. I don't want to get into Kerberos login issues, but I think that's where I'm headed, so fun network problems. All right, welcome back. I don't know who was first in chat today. I have no idea. Let's see, Greeners? Was it you? Was it you? Who won the internet? They need to fix it. That's right. Who is? Own up. Own up. Who is it? Greeners says it was not me. Might have been Kim. Sure wasn't me. Firegirl, handmade by Wendy. Firegirl, handmade by Wendy. You've been outed by your peers. Congratulations. Congratulations. And when will you be by to fix the network? It's this thing right here is not working. The one with the red light. See how it's red now and green now? That part's working. I just need to be able to see it on this machine right here. Right here. Which is not working. So
I was told council wanted to see me inside back.
Fire Girl, handmade by Wendy. We're sending to you to internet ownership. Everything IP related worldwide is your responsibility. So, including my internet problems. All right, we're going to return back to court, and I realize this is a tough trial, and it's bringing out the worst of us. Ask everyone to be a little more patient with each other, and with our mods, and with the people in court, honestly, because it's a little painful at times. But let's see if I can bring you court. I think it's right now. Hang on. We're about an hour behind, a little over an hour. So we should get caught up here very quickly.
How does he do that?
By the way, let's see. I think that's what we're
versus Paul Caneiro. It's indictment 1902-0283. Can I have the appearances of counsel for the record?
Your Honor, Assistant Prosecutor Nicole Watless on behalf of the state.
Good afternoon, Judge Chris Becker for the state.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Monica Masco on behalf of Mr. Caneiro, who's present.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Okay, and good afternoon, Mr. Caneiro. All right, we're ready to continue with the direct examination. Prosecutor, when you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. Doctor, where we left off, I think we were beginning to discuss the fourth wound that you noted in S380, which is your report. You still have that up?
Yes, indeed.
Now, the fourth wound that's noted on page 4 of your report, can you tell us what you documented in that regard?
There's a gunshot wound on the right lateral back of the head. The entrance wound.
Okay.
And the exit wound is on the left side, frontal and the temple area.
Okay. Can I just have the back table, please? I'm going to go to S1H again. And can I have slide 14, please? Now, gunshot wound 4 that you describe in your report, can you tell us where that is?
Yes. Now we look at the body lying on the autopsy table. You'll notice there is one entrance wound just above right side ear. It's considered number 4 gunshot wound entrance side.
Can we preserve that, please?
14.1.
Then can we go to slide 16, please? And do you see anything on 16 with respect to the exit of that injury?
Yes.
Okay, where is that?
It's on the left, I just mentioned, the frontal and the temple area. Above the left side here, there is a exit wound.
Can we preserve that 16.1?
Then you can I slide 15? Is that a closer up shot of that wound?
Yes, it's a close shot for entrance wound of gunshot wound 4.
Now, with respect to, I think when you described in your report on 4, you mentioned that there was a partial exit wound. Is that accurate?
In this wound, yes, it's a partial exit wound. Yes.
Okay.
There's a.
What does that mean?
Basically, we mentioned perforating gunshot wound is through and through the entrance wound, exit wound. This wound, they created exit wound, maybe partially bullet, exit from exit wound, but majority, and small, still, I don't know majority, still 3 fragments of the bullet, including 1 jacket, 2 core of the bullet, identified inside of skull and the head area.
Now, Doc, is it fair to say that that projectile perforated the scalp initially on entry?
There's the pieces exit from exit wound.
Okay. Now, talking about the entry, does the projectile perforate the scalp, fracture the right inferior parietal bone?
Correct.
Okay. And then does it go through the right parietal lobe?
Yes, indeed.
To the left parietal lobe?
To the left side, yes.
And during the course of that, did it fracture the junction of the left parietal bone with the left frontal bone area?
Correct.
And then we have that partial exit, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and ultimately, as a result of that partial exit of the projectile or the portions thereof, did you recover portions of that bullet?
Yes. I remember I recovered 3 pieces.
Okay. Can I have slide 17, please? Do you recognize that?
Yes. You can see on the top is the yellow color. It's a jacket of bullet. There's a metal colored or lead colored is the core of the bullet. Certainly you can see the fragment of the bullet severely deformed.
Okay. Now, Doctor, ultimately as a result of the recovery of those 3 portions of the bullet from the brain of Mr. Caneiro, was that provided to one of the detectives who was there from the prosecutor's office to assist with documentation of the autopsy?
Yes, indeed.
Now,
Can we preserve that 17.1?
Now, just going to, you can go back to that. I'm going to ask you about the 5th gunshot wound. Can you just undo that, Doctor? I'm sorry. Can you click the undo button? Thank you, sir. Now, the 5th gunshot wound, is that also documented in your report?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And could you just indicate how you describe that 5th gunshot wound?
You just remember the 4th entrance wound on the right lateral the head, and there's another entrance wound is above the previous mentioned number 4 entrance wound. There's a number 5 entrance wound on the right top of the head.
Can I have slide 14, please? Do you recognize the 5th entrance gunshot wound in that photograph?
Yes, indeed. We identify one entrance wound on the top of the head, slightly in front of number 4 entrance wound.
Okay. Can we preserve that?
14.2.
Now, can you talk about where, Doctor, can you talk about where that, once that bullet enters where you just circled, where's the bullet go?
The bullet fractured, perforated the scalp, fractured the parietal, right side parietal bone through the top of the brain, the exit from the left side parietal bone. Fractured left parietal bone, then exit from left top of the head.
Doctor, when you, I'm sorry.
Again, this, like, remember the face, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. They go through the same pathway, from the right to left, from the back to front, and also with a slightly up version.
Doctor, that wound that we just talked about, number 5, the entrance wound, you talked about the path. You described the exit wound as being, in your report, as being a large, elongated exit wound. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Can I just have slide 16, please? You recognize that large, elongated exit wound in slide 16?
Yes. You can see there's a large defect on the left top of the head,
okay,
which is the front of left ear, on the left anterior lateral of the head.
Can we preserve that, please?
16.2.
Doctor, you described somewhat before lunch and now five gunshot injuries sustained by Keith Caneiro, correct?
Correct.
Now, the first one we talked about was in the lower back area. That's where it entered, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then it exited through the abdomen and went through his hand and exited again, correct?
Yes.
Now, with respect to gunshot wounds 2, 3, 4, and 5, were any of those gunshot wounds below the shoulder area?
None of them.
They were all above the shoulder area?
You are right.
Now, I think at times, specifically gunshot wound 5, you noted bilateral, subdural, and subarachnoid hemorrhage in the brain?
Actually, number 4 I also noticed. The both lead to the subdural, subarachnoid hemorrhage, brain lacerations, brain contusion. One push the brain, the bullet down there. The other part of brain tissues against the skull that created contusions. And also, I didn't describe after you can see through the X-ray, the top of the head become pieces. Just all the skull kind of when the bullet hit the skull, lost energy. You see the bullet break up, created temporary cavities, kind of small plastic injuries. So the head, top of the head, on X-ray you can see all become pieces.
Can I have slide 4?
Shattered his skull.
Is that the X-ray that you're referring to, Doctor?
Yes. You see the black gap is air. I mean, you can see the head is deformed on top of the head, and you see all the gap. It means each individual fracture bones down there.
Okay. Good thing. Now, as a result of your autopsy process, both external and internal, and that which you've testified to already, did you determine whether or not, at the time of his death, Keith Caneiro was suffering from any natural diseases?
No.
Okay. Did you note something regarding coronary artery disease?
I identified that Keith has some heart conditions. We call coronary artery. They supply the blood and the nutrition to the heart.
Did that cause his death, Doctor?
No, in this case.
Okay. Now, I just want to ask you also, with respect to this autopsy, did you at some point take a DNA or a blood sample from Keith Caneiro during the autopsy?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And was that provided to that same detective who took the projectiles?
Correct.
Okay. Now, with respect to toxicology panels, did you order those as well?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And did you ultimately receive back toxicology results regarding Keith Caneiro?
Yes, indeed.
And ultimately, were those negative?
Let me double check.
Sure.
Yes, you are right.
Okay. Now, based upon your autopsy, and in light of your training and experience that you described previously, were you able to determine or opine as to a cause of death for Keith Caneiro?
Yes, indeed.
And what was that?
The cause of death is a multiple gunshot wounds.
Okay. And With respect to the manner of death, were you able to make any conclusions there from your autopsy?
Homicide.
Okay. And what does homicide actually mean?
That one person killed another person.
Okay. Now, that cause and manner, those cause and manner opinions that you just talked about, are those based upon the performance of the autopsy, the things you saw in conjunction with your education, your training, and your experience?
And also including investigation.
Including investigation, because that's part of the process, correct?
Correct.
And that's why it was important for you to talk about what you saw photographically at the scene at 15 Willowbrook.
Correct.
Now, Doctor, I want to ask you about the second autopsy that you performed on that same date, which was November 21st, 2018, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that was with respect to Sophia Caneiro, correct?
Yes.
And did you, as part of the culmination of that autopsy, did you draft a report?
Correct.
Okay, and did that report ultimately include toxicology, the actual report, as well as your body diagram and some other notes from the investigators?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, I'm just going to show you what's been marked as S382. Identification. I'll ask you if you recognize that, Doctor.
Yes. This including my autopsy report, which have the name Sophia Caneiro, and the case number is 13-18-1301. The case 13 is the county of Alamos County. The 18 is the year of 2018. Case number 1301 is a specific related to this case. So in all the following photos, they all have this label associated with this case.
Now, Doctor, with respect to the autopsy that you conducted or performed upon Sophia Caneiro, did you do it in a similar manner to which you had done for her father, Keith Caneiro?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Did that include x-rays that were taken prior to any real internal or external examination?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have slide 20, please? Doctor, do you recognize slide 20?
Yes, indeed.
What do we see there?
We show the body was lying on the table. We take the photo of the bodies. On those, there is show the EKG leads on the shoulder area. Also, is also a little bit high density. The pieces actually they are not bullet. They are just gravel stones. Since the initially body was found the first landing between the first floor and the second floor, they moved the body from the fire side to the gravel surface. So those stones is contamination basically on the ground and show the injuries on the you can see on the right side chest. If you compare the left side the chest, it's all quite black. That means the person also have what we call the pneumothorax, the air into the right chest. So the compress the right lung. Normally the chest cavity is negative pressure, so you can expand the lung. So and also the lung is collapsed and kind of push the heart towards to the left side, the bodies. And yes.
Okay. Can we preserve that, please?
20.1.
Doc, you can undo that if you don't mind. Doctor, as part of any autopsy, and specifically this one, did you take note of any clothing that Sophia Caneiro was wearing at the time?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, and that was 2 items, correct?
Yes.
What were they?
They were, one is a shirt, one is underwear.
Okay.
The shirt is, which is covered with blood.
Okay. Now, can I just have slide 21? You recognize that, Doc?
Yes.
What is that?
It's basically, in this case, later on, I will introduce other evidence. So they are in the fire scenes. So you can see the clothing already partially burned. So I have cut on the surface, lateral surface, in order to preserve the evidence. So basically, this shirt on the purple one is on the back. The body is protected. Clothing be burned, were burned. So on the top is a front shirt. In the front shirt and also on the back, you see a lot of empty space that later on correlated with the stab wound. When you perforate the body, create a defect on the clothing.
Now, Doc, during the course of the beginning of your report, specifically page 2 of that document, you go on to describe your initial impressions of Sophia Caneiro, correct?
Yes.
And that included the fact that she was 48 inches, right?
Yes.
45 pounds?
Correct.
And she was how old?
8 years old.
Okay. Did you describe her hair color?
Yes, it's she has a light brown hair, but the hair, top of the hair, is I described in my report, is singe. That means get thermal burns. Not totally burned yet. You start after burn, you start shrinking. A singe.
Doctor, were you able to evaluate or determine her eye color?
Since with the thermal burns, you really cannot see real color since have a thermal burn effect.
Did you document that there were large stab wounds on the left side of her nose?
Yes, indeed. There's a multiple large stab wound on the left head.
Okay. And did you note something regarding the upper frenulum?
Yeah, the upper frenulum is a small ligament between in the front line, in the upper lip area. So that small ligament is tear.
Did you make any observations of whether or not there was any blood in her mouth?
Also, there's a large amount of blood in the mouth.
Did she have multiple cuts and stab wounds to the chest?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And was her face covered with blood and soot?
Yes, indeed. The whole body covered by soot. So make me, in this case, very difficult doing the autopsy since
they're leading
and the dry blood.
The defense won't complain.
So we have to really carefully clean the wound in order to identify the nature of injuries.
Did you note at times in different places radiant heat burns?
Yes, the whole body, especially in the front, show the radiant thermal burns. On the back, get partially burns. But certain area is still preserved, especially when the body against, like buttock area, against the floor. They are kind of protected by body positions. In those areas will be less burn.
Now, Doctor,
or unburned.
Now, Doctor, during the course of the report, you document evidence of injury. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. And you described in the beginning, part 1, you described evidence of sharp force injuries. Is that right?
Yes.
What did you mean when you said sharp force injuries?
Generally speaking, we talk about sharp injuries is by sharp instrument, either with a pointed or sharp edge. So those injuries is due to cut, not by force The blunt force injuries by force that break the tissue, tear tissues. The sharp force injury is cut motion into the body.
Okay. Now, doctor, if you recall, is it accurate that you documented under sharp force injuries 17 injuries or groups of injuries?
It's artificially divided like 17 groups based on locations, but not means 17 injuries. It's 17 group injuries.
Now, I know that you document a lot. We just said it was 17, but I'm going to refer you to that report that's in front of you, if I can.
Yes.
And specifically, I just wanted to just note the number. For the record, we're looking at S382, correct?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to start with number 1 and ask you that first injury that you noted.
The first injury is like a deep cut on the right top of the head, which the cut length is 1.5 inches.
Okay. And the second injury or group of injury that you noted was what?
Is injury, the stab wound on the back left armpit area, which 7 1/8 inch in length and 1/2 inch in width. Normally, we mention the stab wound. If I mention the length of the wound, tend to correlate the width of the blade. And the depth wound tend to associate the length of the blade, but certainly not injury will be fully penetrated. But they're correlated a certain degree down there. So this, and again, I mentioned to you, majority thermal burns in the anterior surface. On the back area, some area is less burn or unburned. In that injuries, I try to identify the length of the wound. In the thermal area, I just mentioned whatever size. Doesn't mean is the shape of the wound. So let me go back to, I'm sorry, I have to tell the jury whatever the preconditions. So this wound is a 7/8 inch, a little bit less than 1 inch, and the 1/2 inch in width. And the depth of the wound is 1 inch. This wound is from the back to front and downward. Just remember, from back to front, downward.
Doctor, with respect to those measurements, I think you said it, but just to be clear, were you confident with respect to the measurements when you talk about 7/8 of an inch in length, 1/2 an inch in width?
So I put the notes, I'm sorry. In my report, I said notes, due to thermal injury, the measurement, the length and width of this wound are not accurate.
And it's not accurate because of the smoke and fire conditions?
Yes, thermal injury. When the thermal injury, your tissue is fixed. They can maybe artificial in large size, or maybe they smaller than real size.
Now, you note the third injury, is that accurate?
Yes.
What's the third injury that you note?
I noticed on the back, the middle of the back, the baby, there have 2.5 inches length
He said the
cut.
baby.
And this cut,
it's
certainly all the cut on the back is from back to front. Also had downward. The cut is downward to the body.
And then the fourth, I note that you indicate there's 2 stab wounds, correct?
Yes, there's a 2 stab wound on the right lateral buttock. The top stab wound measure 3/4 by 1/2 inches. The lower stab wound is located at a little bit non-thermal injury area. So this measurement is more accurate, like real injury patterns. I mentioned the length of that wound is 1/8 inch in length, 3/16 in width. And when you look at that shape of the wound, there's one sharp edge, one blunt edge. So indicate the weapons, whatever stab to the buttock area, most likely is a single edge blade.
Again, is that what you just described? Is that back to front?
Yes, this wound is the from the back to front and the top to bottom.
So downward.
Downward.
Now, number 5, you talk about a superficial vertical cut at the right posterior lateral thigh measuring 3 inches in length, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And when you talk about right posterior lateral thigh, can you tell us where that is?
It's basically, I said, all the base standard position is on the lateral side of the right thigh, on the back lateral side.
Now, the 6th wound, again, I think it's 2 wounds at least, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us about the 6th wound?
These 2 stab wound on the left side the nose, measuring up to 1 inch in length. The wound direction is front to back, slightly right when I'm talking to the baby, the child, from the right to left, and slightly that is on the face, slightly from the bottom to top, slightly upward, and these 2 wounds cut through the nose, cut through the nose, and through the sinus. And since I just remember on the left side nose, this wound from front step on the back, a little bit upward. So when the wound into the left side, the face through the sinus, they hit the bottom of the skull. The brain inside the skull. The bottom skull we call left frontal fossa. On the base of the skull, there are frontal fossa, middle fossa, and posterior fossa. So the knife penetrating front to back, from slightly from the right to left, and slightly upward, hit the bottom of the skull and fracture the base of the skull.
Can I just very briefly have slide 22? You recognize that, Doc?
Yes, indeed.
Is that consistent with the injury you just described?
Yes.
Now moving on to number 7, you document 6 cuts or stab wounds. Can you explain that?
There are 6 cut and stab wound on the middle anterior portion of the chest, in around the nipple level up and the lower area. There are total 16 totally 16 cuts and the stab wounds. Again, if we're grouping them together, they are going. The knife is going to front to back. One of the wound cuts through the right upper chest, which penetrated through the right and number 5, number 6 lateral ribs, create a cut, 1 inch cut in the middle of right lung, and superficially cut all the way deep, cut into the back of the chest cavities. So this wound measure the depth of the wound around 3 inches.
Now that group of injuries there, Doc, under number 7 that you just discussed.
I'm sorry, I didn't finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me finish the wound. So you remember the X-ray? There was a dark area on the right side lung. We mentioned the pneumothorax since they cut through the lung. and also the wound, deep wound into the chest cavity, introduce air into the chest cavities. So this wound lead to the blood on the chest. We call the blood in the chest, and also have called the pneumothorax. Means air in the chest. So the right side lung, therefore, called lung collapse. I use the term atelectasis, basically collapse lung, and push the organs, the heart, towards the left. Since when you at least lost one side, you cannot breathe. When the lung collapse, you cannot change air. When push the heart towards the left side lung, also partially compress left lung, make the person difficult to breathe.
So what I was going to say is that's consistent with what you described earlier from the X-ray, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now moving on to the 8th grouping of injuries. Can you describe that?
There's a stab wound on the right lateral chest. So this wound measures 7/8 by 1 inch. Again in the thermal area. Stab wound. This stab wound from right to left, slightly top to bottom. This stab wound through the skin, right lateral chest wall, through the ribs. They cut the fracture number 9. This through number 8 to number 10 ribs space. Into there on the way there, cut through the fracture or cut the right number 9 rib, and then when they go to initially go to the lower chest cavities, then after they go to chest cavities, they into the right side diaphragm. Right side diaphragm separate the chest organ and abdomen. Through the right diaphragm, then further into the liver. The right lobe of the liver. Certainly, when you damage the liver, you have a hemorrhage in the abdominal cavity. We call the hemoperitoneum. There is a small amount of injuries, the blood in there. So this wound depth is around 3¼ inch in depth from the cut through we talk about baby, and almost through the right to the midline area. 3¼ inch in depth. Thank you.
Now, in the 9th group of injuries, you talk about one stab wound to the anterior right thigh, correct?
Correct.
And also one stab wound on the left thigh, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And the direction of those wounds was what?
From the front to back.
And did you also measure those?
Yeah, this is again the front leg was burned. So I measure 3¼ by 3/4. Another wound measure 3/4 by 1/4.
Now number 10 is 2 vertical cuts on the medial surface of the right lower leg and 1 vertical cut on the medial surface of the right ankle. Is that
correct?
Right. And they measure 2 to 3 inches in length?
Correct.
Now number 11, you talk about a stab wound on the left anterior upper arm, correct?
Correct.
What's the direction there?
The direction wound is front to back.
Now just number 12 is a perforating stab wound of the right forearm.
Correct.
What does perforating mean? If you
perforating, again, the same concept, use bullet or knife. That means the knife enter the body, then exit from the body.
And that perforating stab wound of the right forearm, what else did you note in that regard?
So this, just remember, this entrance wound is located on the posterior lateral of right forearm, on the back lateral of the forearm. close to the elbow.
Okay.
And measures 1 inch by ½ inch. So this wound direction is back to front, and top to bottom. I mean, from shoulder is top, the hands is the bottom. It's, remember, back to front. It's a little bit downward.
And just to that area, very briefly, Doc, can I have slide 25? Now, you talk about injury to the right forearm. Is that accurate?
Correct.
And you also
I'm going to label.
Okay.
So the elbow is here. So the closed elbow on the back of the on the lateral of right forearm.
And Doc, just very quickly, do you see some of the chest injuries that you described earlier?
Yes, you see multiple gapping stab wound and or cut.
Can we preserve that and take it down?
25.1.
Doc, you talk about, if you could undo that, Doc. Talk about number 13 being a faint cut on the right forearm. Is that essentially in that same area you just described?
Yes.
It's like between the perforated stab wounds you just described?
And also there's a stab wound and the superficial cut on the right elbow.
Okay. And is there also under number 14, is there a deep cut on the posterior right wrist?
Correct. But the measuring 1 3/4 inches in length.
Okay. And then number 15 says vertical skin split from the back of the right hand?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, and that's toward the distal forearm?
Correct.
Then you also note a horizontal skin split somewhere else?
At the right metal phalangeal joints, basically it's your knuckle area. There's a addition which consists of superficial cuts. Since when you cut down there on you, the wound, when there's the thermal injuries, they start to split. And since the reason I consider is now the burn artifact is real injuries, since in the dermal area, I still can see the linear cut down there. So I reach conclusion. Those skin split is now due to the thermal artifact. It's due to, since the reason how split, since that area or the fat tissue are exposed to the air. So the fire will be more start in the fat area. So they need to skin split, but underneath indicate the reason how skin split on the right wrist area is due to the injury.
And you note number 16, 3 superficial cuts on the medial surface of the left forearm?
Correct.
Okay. And then 17 is a cut on the right lateral lower face?
Correct.
And then you
so the cut is measured is 1.5 inch in length.
Did you then go on to note any blunt force injuries?
Yes, indeed.
What's a blunt force injury?
But blunt force injuries is inflicted by any object. They don't have sharp cutting edge, but they can, with the force, you can create a contusion, means in the underneath skin hemorrhage. Abrasion is the skin surface damage. We call it abrasion.
And you noted those abrasions on the right upper eyelid, right?
Yes. So abrasion on the right upper eyelid and abrasions on the temple area, just below the right eye, and small contusions on the anterior chin, and small abrasions on the right lower lip, on the right lower lip. There are abrasions and contusions on the left lower chest, and the purple contusion on both anterior knee.
Doctor, was there a point in time when you documented, that you were asked to document whether some of these injuries could be consistent with defensive wounds.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to ask you to get specific at each wound, but based upon what I'm showing you, S383, you indicate that certain wounds were consistent based upon your training and experience and this autopsy itself with defensive wounds.
Do you remember I grouping all the sharp injuries 1 to 17? So number 9, number 10, number 12, number 13, number 14, number 15, number 16. Those group injuries, my opinion, they are consistent with the defense wounds.
And just very briefly, when we look at slide 23, we're looking at the right leg of Sophia Caneiro, correct?
Correct.
Is there evidence, based upon your examination, of wounds that you believe to be consistent with defensive wounds?
Yes.
Okay.
You see the vertical cuts on the anterior chain area. You see the stab wound on the right side. You see the stab wound on the left side. Those wounds for me is indicate Sophia was lying on the ground. Somebody tried to stab them. They use the leg, try to dodge the knife.
Okay. Can we preserve that?
23.1.
Can I just briefly have slide 24, please? Got to undo that. Thanks, Doc. And then last, slide 24, please. Is that also consistent with what you believe to be consistent with defensive wounds upon Sophia Caneiro?
Yes. Now we're looking for, from upper version, look at the right foot. You can see on the right ankle area have a cut. Maybe have another cut on down here. I'm not 100% sure.
Can we preserve?
4.1.
No. As to all the injuries that you have discussed this afternoon, did you document them on a body diagram of Sophia Caneiro?
Yes, indeed.
I have slide 26. You recognize that?
Yes.
Is that all you're writing?
Yes. So there's clearly show the label 13-18-1301 with the decedent name and all the injuries.
And the purpose of that is to show where all of those injuries are, and there's also certain measurements on that diagram, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and does that accurately depict, your sketch of, during the course of the autopsy, of the injuries that Sophia sustained?
Yes, indeed. You'll notice almost the entire body was our injuries.
Now, you talked about thermal injuries already, correct?
Yes.
And was there any evidence internally of smoke inhalation?
Yes, indeed. There is a soot in the tongue and the upper airway.
Now, in order to, as a result of those observations, do you immediately conclude anything, or do you look to get further testing?
Since one, you inhaled smoke, majority component of smoke is carbon monoxide. So that when you inhale the smoke, including carbon monoxide, so when the body inhaled carbon monoxide, normally in the blood, in the red cells, they have hemoglobin. Normally they combine with oxygen together, then deliver oxygen from your lung side into the tissues. In the cellular level, they can exchange air, so the tissue have oxygen to supply energy for the tissues. However, carboxy when CO into the bodies, they will start to bonding with hemoglobin called carboxyhemoglobin. So there will be show certain kind of concentration carboxyhemoglobin. In this case, I believe it's 49%. I will double check. Yes, 49% carboxyhemoglobin in the system. Put this way, for 10%, normally people feel the nausea, vomiting. If about 40%, that means you can die just by smoke inhalation. She had 49%. Plus, I saw the salt in the airway, indicate that person was stabbed by zillion times, then leave the body alive.
Doctor, as a result of your autopsy, I would imagine that you concluded that Sophia Caneiro at age 8 wasn't suffering from any natural diseases that would have contributed to her death, correct?
Correct.
And with respect to your examination and based upon your training and experience, were you able to come up with a determination as to cause of death of Sophia Caneiro?
Yes, indeed.
And what was the cause of death that you concluded?
Sharp force injuries and smoke inhalation.
Again, as a result of your training experience and your autopsy of Sophia Caneiro, were you able to come up with a determination as to the manner of death?
Homicide.
Judge, I have no further questions.
Ross?
They have nothing.
Okay. Doctor, you can step down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good witness for the prosecution. Excruciating minutes for the defense. I think was our last witness for the day, I believe. Some people are saying that Paul didn't show any emotion. Definitely didn't show any emotion for hearing about how Keith's wife died. But when hearing about how Jesse died and the injuries that he sustained, he appeared to look over towards the jury. We've heard rumors from people in the courtroom that the jury this is very difficult for them, that they've been crying. And immediately after that, he also was crying. And tissues being passed out amongst the gallery. Boxes passed back and forth between the rows. Everyone's crying. This was incredibly brutal. One of those that even if the killer explained in detail what and why, I still don't think we would understand. Just the mindset to get there, it's terrible. A lot of people comforting each other in the gallery. Man. I don't know which ones whose family or how they're related or whose neighbors and friends, and I don't know. Okay. I don't know if those are people supporting Paul or they're in honor of the victims, looking for justice for the victims. Yeah, that was a tough one. That was just brutal. Yeah, it does give a great indication of why Sophia's blood was all over Paul's pants. She was defending herself using her legs, possibly even kicking him or kicking at him to block the knife. I don't know. I think the jury is still there. There's just a sidebar right now. They're deciding what to do for the rest of the day. Let's wait and see. I like this witness. He did have a bit of an accent, but for me, he was easy to understand. He was very clear. He's very smart, understanding his profession. And had a great memory of the work he did in this case. But is that courtroom so small that people supporting both sides have to sit close together? I doubt it. I think it's a big courtroom. And her hair on his scarf. Probably the hair was, I didn't hear this, but I'm guessing that the hair that was on his scarf was one that was cut. She received a lot of injuries in her upper body, and it's possible that the hair was cut off during the stabbing. It sounds like he ran out of bullets. It sounds like he had 10 rounds with him. And I'm just trying to do the math on this. There was at least one round. Were there 2 rounds that were used on the wife, on Jennifer? I don't know. I think there were 5 or 6 on Keith, and probably another 2. I thought, if I listened, I was trying not to listen carefully. It was pretty hard on Jennifer. That takes us to 8 possibly. 1 that was dropped outside, where he might have re-racked the slide when it was already loaded, so he wasted a bullet that way. 1 that was used potentially on Jesse with a grazing shot on his chin, where he had that indentation and the mark of the bullet going by. I think it accounts for all I think they can account for all the bullets, even if there was only 1 used on the wife. I think there was 1 other bullet that was found in the clothing that was in the house, the bloody clothing. So he ran out of ammo. Probably while killing Jennifer. And then, I don't know. I don't know if the fire was set to destroy the evidence, or if the fire was set to flush out the victim so he could get them. I don't know. Part of me doesn't want to ever know. Guess the prosecution's packing up for the day. He's putting everything away, zipping up his briefcase, and it's also possible that the jury got a little bit of a break here. I'm not sure. I didn't see anybody stand up.
I know you want it.
I think this is the jury coming back in. The judge just walked across the screen. Not sure exactly what we're doing here. Heard somebody say, "I'm okay." Now everyone's standing, possibly the jury coming back in. Oh. They're going out. We don't know. Not sure exactly which one's happening. The prosecution led all the way through those autopsy witnesses. Just leading the entire way. But not one objection from the defense.
Because them all Friday morning, 8 o'clock. I will. Can I see the attorneys back up, please?
Okay, so the jury's gone Friday morning, 8 o'clock. That means we've had an early morning on Friday. We've got to start early. We are just finishing the day. Looks like the jury's gone for the day. So we are caught up as of right now, just catching the last few minutes of what happened. If the defense had objected to the leading, it would have drawn out the question and answer process for getting all that information. That information was coming out one way or another, right? We were going to hear a description of each of the injuries and, the measurements and everything. And it's much easier to just allow them to say, when you looked in this area, what was the measurements of the knife? It's much easier to lead all the way through and then just get a quick answer and move on. So for them, it was just shut up and take it because there's nothing else you can do. They obviously did not want to spend a moment more talking with these witnesses. No questions for any of the MEs. That's not something you can fix by going over the evidence like they did with some of the other witnesses, right? And so you were saying that, you don't want to, pull those pictures back up in front of the jury. You don't want to stretch that experience out for them. I believe we're saying no more witnesses, and we're not having court tomorrow here, which means we might get some catch up on some other courts as far as just some updates about what's happening in the world of true crime. Obviously, we've got the Corey Richards trial, which we're super excited for. We've got everything in place for that one moving forward. I was just on the phone with Utah courts yesterday, getting some things sorted out for that one. And it is scheduled to move forward, I believe, on the 23rd of February. That's going to be the first day of evidence. It's actually going to be jury selection next week in the Corey Richards trial. I did not watch Corey Richards' hearing today. I don't think it's delayed anything. I believe the judge has denied the additional change of venue that they've requested now that they've got the jury forms back and 70% of the people have followed the case. There's still hundreds of people who haven't. I think they can get a jury out of that pool. Let's see. I did not watch Corey Richards today. Some of these hearings have not been live streamed. Like the judge has not allowed them to be live streamed. The pool media for Corey Richards in the past. So I've been out to Park City, Utah for a couple of the hearings, and in the past the pool media was KUTV News, which was based out of Salt Lake City. Great outfit. I love them. I didn't work for them. I've done some stuff for KSL and done some stuff for Fox 13. But KUTV Channel 2 was in charge out there, and going forward in the case, it will not be KUTV. It is going to be Court TV in charge of the Corey Richards trial. So I like that. Court TV has great setup and usually some great employees for the most part. They've had a few that made mistakes, but we'll be having cameramen who understand that what we want to watch as trial watchers, as opposed to what the news wants to see in a quick clip in a story about what happened today in the court. So I like that. It should mean for better watching experience for us.
We have concluded the testimony for today. It was a long day, so we've concluded for today. I've decided to do that. We will start back up on Friday morning, same time, same place. It'll be 8 o'clock on Friday morning. We start at 8:30, and we'll continue on with the testimony at that point in time. Until such time, everyone, Mr. Caneiro, we'll see you back on Friday. We'll make sure that we're all ready to go. All right? Thank you, everyone. Everybody have a good day.
Yeah, I think that was particularly hard for the judge. I'm not sure if he has children that age or grandchildren that age. I have no idea. But that's not just the judge being tired for the day. That is a judge who's going to go home and just sob into his pillow. So no court tomorrow here, but we'll have some other court to follow, or even court hopping, which will be a welcome break after some of the testimony we've had. No, Denisha, we've made fun of a couple court TV cameramen and stuff, but all in all, I have to admit they most closely align with my vision of how court watching should be. So I'm really excited about them being pool for Corey Richards. All right, let's see. Sound like the judge either had cried or was trying not to. Yeah, that was. Excuse me, I've got someone I need to go hug. Yeah, for sure. That was difficult. We finished the evidence for today. We are now caught up entirely. The only thing I haven't managed to do is fix my storage issue. I think I might have to reformat my hard drives. Oh, look how dusty. That's a shame. You guys see this? Sorry. Let me show you this. Look how dusty this is. That's terrible. Okay, that's better. These are hard drives, Samsung solid state discs. Pretty cool. That's what we record onto. I think I'm going to have to reformat these, which means I'll lose everything that's on them and reformat them for Windows to see if that will make it work. Let's see. Aaron Spencer. I need more details about the trial. I don't remember. Here's what our schedule is, Laurie. We're going to follow this case to the end. It's got probably at least another week in it, and we hope it will wrap up before Corey Richards starts, because if Corey Richards starts, we're bailing on this one, and then we'll catch up on the verdict. That's it. But Corey Richards will be following all day, every day, throughout the trial. It is a long one as well. It has a whole bunch of different components to it. I know there's two separate sort of cases that are moving through the system. One is more focused on her mortgage fraud, forgery type thing, and one's focused on the murder. But, yeah. Aaron Spencer won't be streamed. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely one we're not going to follow with that fact pattern. Do we know if Corey is on delay, if we're allowed to watch live? I can tell you this. We will have as live a feed as anyone. We've already got everything in place for that, and we'll work with the decorum order, because that judge has come out with various decorum orders. Even while we were doing the hearings, he was changing how long the delay had to be. We worked with that then. We'll work with it now. Everything will comply. It's going to be good. So you won't get it any faster than watching right here. Nexus Lexus, thank you. Send a little extra love into the world today, folks. That was a lot of badness he brought. All right. Let's see. Was in meetings most of the day. Did anything point to Paul? Yeah, the ammunition, although it's not like a rare, unique brand that only he has, it's not a common brand. It's not like Federal. It's not like, some of the other brands that everybody knows, or you can find at every gun store. You can find the Feroci brand in various different places. I think Shields, they said, somebody mentioned Shields has it. But it's one that's sort of unique, and that you wouldn't, I would say 1 out of 20 owners probably would be putting it high as how many people have shot that round or that brand, and to have everything match exactly, not just the brand, but match the style of bullet, being a full metal jacket, and everything else. That points to Paul. And it wasn't even a brand that the people who test guns, the tool and firearm guys, had on hand. They didn't have any available. So that was interesting. When it comes to tool and firearms, let me say a little bit about that, because I did look. We looked at how much it would cost to partner with Ian Runkle and do an analysis, a side-by-side analysis, using one of these comparison microscopes. I did find a nice one. Basic entry-level Swift M3 comparison LED microscope with an 8-inch screen as well, so you can look through the eyepieces or you can take pictures. Only $3,000. Only $3,000. But it's not the hardware. It's not the microscope or the method of comparing gunshot casing or bullet casing to bullet casing that I have a problem with. It's the idea that in today's manufacturing world, and I have a friend who works for Browning, right? Browning's a nice gun manufacturer. He is a gunsmith running very high precision equipment, making these guns. And these guns are produced one after another, using the exact same tools and the exact same methods. I'm not convinced that as technology and precision gets better and better, and when you think about precision, think about how precise some of the stuff we do for aerospace and things like that. Some of these guns are that caliber of quality when it comes to tolerances. The tolerances are so tight. I'm not convinced that two firearms produced using the exact same method back to back wouldn't produce the same markings on a fired bullet through them. Now, lower quality, inferior, parts and materials. Yeah, I can see that, but I'm not convinced that two guns made basically in the same batch would be that different. The like night and day difference. I think they would match. I think they would line up with each other because they were made the exact same way, using the exact same equipment. Even though it's microscopic, I'd have to sort of do my own tests, I guess, to believe it. So maybe I'll have to buy a comparison microscope, and then a whole bunch of guns, right? But let's see. Sloth Life Valentine's Day is commercialized. Don't buy into it or for it. I still have to get my wife flowers. Barb says, if I had $3,000 to spend, it would be on food, not stuff. I don't have $3,000 to spend, and I'm not getting a comparison microscope. I would need them to supply it as a sponsorship to the channel, I think, for us to do that. Before buying a comparison microscope, ask yourself, where are you going to keep it? On the kitchen counter. Where else would you keep? The kids could use it for schoolwork as well. I think it's a great idea. I'll run it by Mrs. R.A. and see what she says. I would be even willing to move the parts for my tractor out of the kitchen cabinets and put it there. Just write it off, make the purchase, charge the IRS. Yeah. Thinking about write-offs is you have to have the money to spend the money, and the write-off only means you don't get taxed on that money. So it's not good. Not impressed with chat? You're voicing a complaint? Well, you might be in the wrong YouTube channel, because this is a true crime channel, and pew-pews are all over true crime. So that's the way that works. They sort of go hand in hand. I agree with you, Ari, but the chances of two people with the same firearm made back-to-back, I agree. I'm not disputing the results by the microscope. As a matter of fact, I think it says that definitely was fired by one of those firearms or similar model. I just don't know that you can say, I mean, just look at how precise we are with DNA, right? You get a DNA expert on there to say, was it a match? And you're like, well, it's more likely that this was a match of this person and three other people than if, and they get this, octillion number, stat saying it can't say 100%, but to like 75 quadrillion, yes, why are we so precise with DNA? And then with this, the scratches look the same. We're like, sold, this is it. Got someone calling in, probably voicing a complaint.
From AWOL.
How are you doing?
What's up?
Thanks for calling the complaint line. How are you doing?
No, everything's amazing. No, I definitely hear what you're saying when it comes to the manufacturing process. Mm-hmm. Is because if you have a model like what was it? He had a P2.
I think it's a 228.
228.
Yeah.
Now that model gets mass produced, so all the slides, all the firing pins, all the ejectors, they're all just mass produced. They're not going to hand fit a Blammy every time. If you want a hand worked Blammy, you get a Kimber. But now that's in the $3,000 range where an actual gunsmith is making every part. But that's $3,000 and the company goes, you paid for that. But as far as SIG is concerned, they hand them out to officers, police forces, the military, I think, swapped over to SIGs. So it gets mass produced. So I hear you. I agree that if all ejection mechanisms are made by the same machine, it might create the same marks. You know what I mean? Firing pins might be all the same.
Yeah, you're making a part that is going to carry the marks of the mold it was made in, right? Or the marks of the tool that the lathe that spun it. If imagine when they stamp a coin, right? If the mark from that coin stamp, and the way the U.S. does it, we stamp one coin at a time. We don't stamp like a sheet of 10,000 coins with one big chunk. We just made 10,000 coins. It's one at a time. Bang, 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 bang. It's about that fast. I think they do like 700 a minute, so maybe it's faster. But that die will mark a coin. And if that die breaks or if something gets caught in the die, every coin after that is going to have that same unique mark. And it could be, 500,000 coins that are made before they're like, oops, we've got an error. We've got to clean the die. Well, you've got 500,000 coins and now have a very unique mark. That I'm just saying the guns might have that as well. That there might be a burr on the tool or, just a scratch on part of it that was as it's compressed and pushed together and tightened and built that just looks the same on this gun as the 5 others that were made right after it. But.
Correct. And one piece of evidence that I think would convince me when it comes to ballistics tool marking is the breech face, because I clean the breech face just so it doesn't have a buildup, but I use a wire brush. So I'm microscopically changing, not on purpose, my breech face every time, right? So now, if Blammy
that
is
Kimber's
used
only
in
worth
a crime,
$2,800 now.
Oh, not a 1911 blue, 45 caliber full steel. But anyway, if the breech face is marked, if a shell casing is picked up at a crime scene, and they have a potential Blammy that they think is the one that was used, if you can match up the breech face, the back of the casing, to the back of the slide where the firing pin comes out, if you can line those markings up, if you clean it, obviously, which considering Paul's collection in his room, I'm pretty sure he did, right? That would mark up. The ejection, the barrel, all that could be explained away through mass production. But breech face is something that, if that matches, I think it's over.
Well, they did have some matches. They showed breech face on this. They showed the ejector port match. They showed the cartridge side ejection marks. They showed obviously the bullet lands and grooves matches. They pretty much showed us everything they possibly could, and it does look like a match. But you have to look at it when you're looking at a bullet like that. These bullets are produced in mass and then put in packages. They're literally jumbled around like a bag of rocks. Okay, and so they do have scratches and things on them that are unique. And one bullet is not, just because one bullet has a scratch sideways doesn't mean the other bullet should have the same scratch. You have to know which ones were caused by the tool and which ones were caused as just part of the process of, maybe even loading the gun might have done it, which is different every time. So.
That's a good point. I try my best to collect all my brass that falls on the floor, but you're not going to get every single one.
Yeah, you don't want anyone to get the evidence, right?
Nah, I mean, you don't know who's there and setting you up. But yeah, it's just I think if the breech face matches, I think that part right there would solidify it for me. Where I would go, oh, you really can't explain that away.
For me, the firing pin. Not the indentation that the defense was asking about, but the imperfections of the firing pin did match up for me, and that was a good one. I have never seen that up close before in a court case.
Correct, because when it hits the primer, it goes in, it comes out. If you can check the firing pin to the primer, you can match that up.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I'd like to see the firing pin as opposed to two fired bullets out of a gun. I'd like to see the firing pin and a fired bullet and say, put these two pieces together, show me how it's perfect.
Right. Yeah. Ooh, that's well, there you go. Yep. Write a letter to the Supreme Court.
Are you gonna chip in for the comparison microscope? It's only $3,000.
Well, you could be how much was it? 3,000.
3,000. Yeah. You might have to haul a few extra loads this weekend.
Facts, but yeah. So I just wanted to call in with that because it's like I hear it's pseudoscience. It's like bite marks, and I would argue, well, that could be canines as well. Canines have a 56 to 74%.
Yeah, and Lexus taillights are known to bite as well.
Oh, right. So it's like a handler can I trust the dog, obviously, but I don't trust the handler. You don't know what he trained. We're not in that handler's training every day to see if he says, if I stomp my foot twice, you sit down, which gives me probable cause to search your car. Yep. So we could all call it pseudoscience at the end of the day. I guess overall, circumstantial evidence is a thing. So with breech face, firing pin, ejection port, barrel markings, you can build a circumstantial case that this Blammy was used. Yeah. You can't really prove it directly, but you can in the other manner.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think all of it looked bad for Paul today. This was not a good day for him.
It doesn't look good for him.
Not any wins.
You know me, innocent until proven guilty, but it does not look good for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, I had you on the phone long enough. Love you, RA. Love you, chat. Everybody have a good night.
Thank you, Ewald.
Stay safe, everybody.
We'll see you. Bye.
All right, peace.
All right. Love Ewald's perspective on this. Let's see. Anything else? Call any local college science department, find out if they're selling any old equipment. My local college does it through an auction. I've actually purchased stuff from their auction. purchased cameras, and my son purchased all of their drum line, like all their drums, like pallets of drums. I think he paid $40 for, I don't know, 30 drums or something. Snares, a whole bunch of snares, a whole bunch of, the big 4 or 5 tom ones. He made hundreds and hundreds of dollars on that, selling them, reselling them. All right. Play the music. That's enough for today, says Laura. Let us go home now. All right, tomorrow we're going to have a little bit of a late start. We're probably going to do about 8. Well, no, we have to get in the spirit of things, so we start at 8 on Friday. Okay, I'm going to try to be early tomorrow. But it's going to be court hopping or some catch up on some of the other cases. We're going to look into possibly some documents that were filed recently in Corey Richton's case. We've got Tyler Robinson update. He's tried to remove the prosecutors, the whole office from his case, as well as try to shut down the media. So we'll take a look and see what's happening there. We haven't seen Judge Simpson in a while, so we might jump in on him. But good stuff. And it's podcast day. Yes, and I got something. I hope Thomas got his. We'll leave you with this. Soup you can suck on. This is Progresso brand soup drops. It's a real thing. I mean, it's like, I'm sure it was a gimmick, but mine arrived and they're right there. So I'm excited. These are candies that taste like soup. It's terrible. It's a terrible idea, but Thomas and I agreed to do it. And that might be tomorrow, as long as he got his. Is it a candy? Sort of. It might be like sucking on a bouillon cube, but, one man's candy is another man's soup. Soup drops, yeah, it sounds terrible. I'm probably going to regret it. They're probably salty as well. So tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe until we go live again tomorrow morning. A little bit of court hopping before we return to this trial. You guys have a good night. We'll see you. Bye-bye. Oh, wrong button. Sorry.